one thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick before we jump into this
Yeah.
is because I know, like, looking behind you, you have a massive physical media collection, and we're in January now, and Best Buy, they've officially cut out physical media. There's like some, whatever's left, they left it on the floor. But I mean, how are you taking all this stuff? How do you feel about physical media? Do you think it's going anywhere? Do you think we're in trouble, or do you think it's going to always be around? I guess to the level that it is now.
Well, I mean, obviously, always is never going to be like a thing, but so obviously the big issue with it, because okay, I guess I'll take it and I'll approach it this way. I always get people who kind of ask me or almost slyly make fun of me for having physical media because of the digital generation and the streamings. But as you know, companies are taking off catalogs that they're straight up like being like, sorry, like, I know we said you own these things, but we're taking down that service, and you no longer have these movies anymore. They did that on PlayStation, right? PlayStation Store.
Right.
And then you've got instances of movies that are just disappearing, or television series. Like, for instance, there was a really cool show starring Courtney Cox on Stars that ran 2 seasons, and the second season just ended like in December.
Yeah.
And they decided, like, we're cutting it from the platform, and we're not putting it on physical media. We're just getting rid of it. So the only way that you can watch that show now is by pirating it. And this is a show that finished its season the same month they got rid of it. So this isn't something where people are going to be like, well, I'll have time to watch it. It'll always be on there. If it's a Netflix show, it'll always be on Netflix. Or if it's a Starz show, it'll always be on Starz. No, man, they're getting rid of shows that they fucking got rid of, that they just dropped. That's crazy to me. That instance makes me really nervous, because I'm sitting there going, what's next? Like for things that just don't have a physical media release, what if all of a sudden you go to it? Because take like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? The new one on Netflix. It's a part of a major franchise, and as of right now, it doesn't have a physical media release. And if for some reason they were to take it off Netflix, there's just a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that you cannot watch legally. And that's crazy to me, right? And the good thing about the physical media, obviously, is that, no one's showing up at my house to take it. It's always here. And so this is one of the main reasons I collect, is for that. But I like to have it as a showboating kind of thing, for sure. It's an ego thing. Look at how many movies I have. But I do fear that certain films and certain shows and stuff are just going to start vanishing, because like there's some weird shit going on right now. Even like with Netflix, they just dropped a movie called The Rope Curse 3, and they also have the Rope Curse 2 on Netflix as well. But the Rope Curse 1 does not, like, you cannot get it, not on DVD, not on streaming, not rent, not nothing. And it's like, you have part 2 and 3 of a series on Netflix, but you can't watch 1. Like that, do you know what I'm saying? Crazy. So that shit scares me. That shit scares me, because I love film, obviously, as much as anybody. And to think that it could just like vanish, and that I'm gonna have to, go to like Pirate Bay or something to be able to watch a movie and risk, getting in trouble over that shit. It's crazy to me. So yeah, do I think that physical media is going away? I do, for major studios. I think it's inevitable. I think places like Arrow, Scream Factory, those kinds of places, they'll be, our last destination for those types of physical media. But I think like Universal and all the big companies, I think they'll phase out of them. I think they'll phase out of them in the next 5 years.
What's interesting about all this is we've officially entered a new era. Like, it's happened. There's no speculation. We're here. This has never happened before, where a major store that was known for exclusives and physical media in general has said, okay, we're done. And a lot of other stores are going to follow suit. But also, I think we're going to look at out of print titles in a new light from here on out, because before we thought, yeah, but there's a chance it could come back, and it's happened. Like Fright Night. Fright Night was out of print for a while, and then it eventually came back. It was on Twilight time, and I remember Twilight even back like freaking 10 years ago. It was pretty pricey, but eventually it came back. But now, because of this new era that we're in, everything that's out of print right now, especially if it's like deep cut type stuff, don't count on it ever coming back.
And the price of him will skyrocket.
It already has, It's pretty insane. So a lot of people don't think that much of it, like it's not that. Like I've literally had people say physical media is not going anywhere. Yeah, maybe, but it's going to skyrocket in price, and it's going to be a niche. That's what's going to happen. It's going to become niche. So
it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a big problem for collectors and for film fanatics. Like, regular everyday people, they're not going to give a shit. I mean, most of the movies that matter will always be available. But, something that we love, some deeper cut horror film or something, if you don't have that physical media copy, or, like, there's tons of films I can think of off the top of my head. Like the Empty Man, one of my favorite films of the decade. That has no physical release, right? Yeah. Hush is impossible to find currently. They've never released it physically, and they, the only way to get a copy of The Empty Man is to buy a copy that they sold in the Redbox, which is how I have it. I have a DVD of it because I went to the Redbox as soon as I could, and I bought it to make sure in case this happened. And thus far, almost 6 years later, we still have no announcement for a physical release, and it's not streaming anywhere. So it's like, oh, actually, that one is streaming, but Hush is not streaming. Sorry, I'm confusing the two. But regardless, it's scary, dude. Like Mike Flanagan. That's what's crazy about it. It's
Flanagan.
It's a Mike Flanagan film, right? It's like, if a Mike Flanagan movie can get dropped off at Netflix, then what do you think's going to happen to some lower level film that has no name recognition to it?
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed Offerings. It is the final thing I'll say about it, but I reviewed Offerings a couple months ago, and horrible movie. But this kind of happened by accident. After I decided I'm going to review Offerings because I heard people talking about it, I couldn't find the movie, and so I ended up paying $40, and which I hear is a really good price because it's actually tough to find, and I found it for $40, but. After a lot of searching, I found like a very deep cut D-list type app has it. One that could be gone next week. You're not going to find this on Amazon. You're not going to find it on Netflix. You're not going to find any major A-tier app. You're not going to find Offerings. And there's probably a lot of movies like that. So
it's one of those,
I think that's the one thing that really opened my eyes to the whole deal.
It's like one of those Roku apps that's like, Horathon. Or shit like that. That's like, there's like 5 movies on there and they're all public domain.
What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DD Live clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys.